smartboards, iPads, computer technology, care of creation, the arts, faith development, sports and fitness, community service. These are your Catholic schools for the 21st century, constantly raising the standards to provide a quality education to their students. Ever changing and adapting, but constant in their values to provide caring and nurturing communities with Christ at the center. Come see today's Catholic schools, where students learn about science and matter, and where they also learn about what really matters. Log on to iobserve.org to find a link to a Catholic school in your area, or call 413-452-0850.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Terry Hegarty. I'll have the story of the beginnings of the Catholic Grandparents Association, which is helping Catholics pass on the faith and keep prayer in the family.
Dan Dumas takes a look at what's happening in the Diocese of Springfield. And the Newman Center at 50, a Catholic student's home away from home. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel.
From throughout Western New England and beyond, this is Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here is your Reel-to-Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
And on this Labor Day weekend, welcome again to Reel as we visit St. Anthony Maronite Catholic Church in Springfield, where just in 1 week, a week-long presentation of the first-class relics of St. Anthony will arrive from Italy. What an exciting event. Also coming up in just 2 weeks, it's Grandparents' Day. And to mark that occasion, the local chapter of the Catholic Grandparents Association will be holding a special event at the Divine Mercy Shrine in Stockbridge. Terry Hegarty had the opportunity earlier this year to sit down and discuss this organization with its international founder.
Catherine Wiley believes that the Catholic Church today is not as strong as it once was, and she's counting on Catholic grandparents to remedy the problem. Catherine says that many grandparents are discouraged by the lack of faith in the world today.
I'm a grandmother, an Irish grandmother with 10 really beautiful grandchildren. And some of my own grandchildren are not baptized. Some of my own children have fallen away from the faith. I didn't realize how difficult it would be to pass on the faith. My faith has sustained me all the days of my life and everything that I have done. And I wanted that faith for my grandchildren.
In response, the grandmother of 10 from County Mayo, Ireland, founded the Catholic Grandparents Association more than 10 years ago. Beginning in 2002 with a pilgrimage in England, the association formed shortly after another pilgrimage to Our Lady of Knock in Ireland was held. In 2008, Pope Benedict wrote a prayer for grandparents, and in 2013, the organization was sanctioned as an official lay organization of the Church.
The only mission of the Catholic Grandparents Association is to help grandparents to pass on their faith and to keep prayer at the heart of family life. And any grandparent listening to this will resonate with it, because our church is going through very critical times. We need the grandparents. We need to create awareness of grandparents for their vocation.
Awareness of that vocation is also being fostered in the Diocese of Springfield. The Catholic Grandparents Association now has chapters in several countries. It has its roots in both England and Ireland. Its New England roots can be traced right to here at St. Peter and St. Casimir Parish in Westfield, where Alicia Bellinger began the first chapter in the Northeast in early 2013. Alicia is now director of the Catholic Grandparents Association in the United States. She and her husband, Gary Bellinger, are the grandparents of 8. Last September, the Bellingers held the first National Catholic Grandparents Association pilgrimage at the Shrine of the Divine Mercy in Stockbridge. More than 300 celebrated Mass and participated in many other activities.
Having a pilgrimage for grandparents brings a great witness to the church about the vocation of grandparents and the vocation of family, that they really are very important things. In our world today, so many people down the family, and they down getting together, and so they're so busy in their lives with soccer games and school activities and work, there's no time for taking time for God.
Catherine says that it is very difficult for a grandparent to see that their beloved grandchildren are not being raised in the faith.
Including myself, grandparents feel they're failing. We really feel like we're failing. And it's not nice, when your children turn around and say, Mom, I tell you, we've decided we're not going to baptize them. It's really difficult. And a lot of grandparents are experiencing this, and they need to have hope and to pray and to stick together.
The best way for them to stick together, according to Catherine, is for them to join the Catholic Grandparents Association. Alicia says that there are great joys associated with teaching the faith to the grandchildren.
I have my grandchildren right at my own parish church, so I see them as altar servers. I see them singing in the choir. So it's so gratifying to see that happening.
Alicia believes that grandparents, even if they are retired, are not done with their work.
They are just not retired. They have a very important job to do, a very important vocation to do. It might be the most important vocation and job they have in their life, and that is to pass on the faith.
Next weekend, Sunday, September 7th, the second annual National Grandparents Pilgrimage will be held at the Shrine of the Divine Mercy. The day-long celebration is open to all. Reporting for Reel to Reel, this is Terry Hegarty.
We have the full details on the upcoming Catholic Grandparents Gathering in Stockbridge on our website, iobserve.org. And still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel, Dan Dumas takes a look at what's happening in and around the Diocese of Springfield. And Steve Kiltonick profiles the Newman Center at 50, a Catholic student's home away from home. These stories and more are still to come on this edition of Reel to Reel.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passion's Brother Terrence Scanlon, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your warm days and join us Sunday morning at 10. This week we welcome Father William Wallace, pastor of St. Peter St. Casimir's Parish in Westfield, as our Mass presider. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News.
He is a doctor of the church, a messenger of hope, and the finder of lost things. He is St. Anthony of Padua, and one of his first-class relics will soon be on display right here in Western Massachusetts. Come to St. Anthony Maronite Catholic Church, 375 Island Pond Road in Springfield, from September 6th through the 14th to see the relic. There will be daily masses and opportunities for confession. There will also be food and a religious gift shop at the adjacent Cedars Hall. Special days have been scheduled for different heritages and cultures. There's even a special youth day. Father Warren Savage will offer a 3-part evening lecture series about St. Anthony of Padua, who is a beloved Franciscan saint known as a gifted preacher. Don't miss this rare opportunity to see this relic, which will travel all the way from Italy. For more information, call 413-452-0577 or log on to santanthonysrelic.com.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel News Brief. Popular Catholic author and speaker Matthew Kelly will be coming to our diocese in just a few weeks. Carolee McGrath has the story.
St. Francis of Assisi in Belchertown is by all means an active parish with a strong youth ministry and music ministry. Parishioners are also very committed to building a culture of life and evangelizing. But October 4th, they'll get an even bigger chance to share their faith, and certainly they'll get a little inspiration in the process when internationally acclaimed author and speaker Matthew Kelly comes to town. Father Vern Dakota is the pastor of St. Francis of Assisi.
Oh, we're thrilled about that, because as the parish, we've offered many opportunities to discuss some of his CDs and his talks, and he's a very dynamic man who has a great love for Catholicism. And also his big phrase is, be the best version of yourself. In other words, be everything God intends you to be.
The event, to be held inside the church, is called Living Every Day with Passion and Purpose. It will raise money for the Dynamic Catholic Institute, which Kelly founded in 2009. The Cincinnati-based nonprofit's mission is to re-engage Catholics that have drifted from the church.
I think the big challenge is to teach people how to express the faith and how to put it into words, and in doing so being able to evangelize, meaning just simply to put it out there for people to think about why Catholics do what they do.
Kelly, who wrote the book Rediscover Catholicism, was born in Sydney, Australia. He's also a partner at Floyd Consulting, a Chicago-based management consulting firm. His clients include Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's, and FedEx. Kelly is a best-selling author who has written several books, including his more recent, The 4 Signs of a Dynamic Catholic, How Engaging 1% of Catholics Could Change the World. Deacon Bill Bronner first contacted the Dynamic Catholic Institute about Kelly coming to Belchertown. Kelly is booked through the end of 2015.
Since we've been listening to his CDs for a long time, about a year and a half ago, I called. And they were working on their schedule for this year, and it was touch and go. We got the second half of the day, but he'll be here.
Father Dakota said Kelly's message is inspiring and critical for parents.
If the greatest challenge of a parent, particularly of a father and a family, is to get his children into heaven, then he better really educate himself in terms of what the faith means and how we live it, and what does it mean to be a Catholic, a disciple of Jesus.
The tickets cost $39 per person. Singer-songwriter Elliot Morris, who has toured with the Counting Crows and John Mayer, will join Kelly at the event. For more information, log on to dynamiccatholic.com or call Deacon Bronner at 413-323-7594.
Meanwhile, earlier in the summer, Ludlow played host to the annual Eucharistic Procession for Vocations. Terry Haggerty has more.
Trekking to all 4 churches in the town of Ludlow in public witness to their faith, local Catholics prayed for vocations last June as part of a Eucharistic procession.
It's really a public witness and awareness of our fundamental belief as Catholics that Jesus is present under the appearance of bread and wine as the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ. And so it makes sense for us to bring that out to the streets, to bring it outside the church, to publicly express that to everyone.
Held on the Feast of Corpus Christi, the afternoon procession hosted nearly 500. Participants started out at Christ the King Parish and headed down Warsaw Avenue and streets such as Sewell and Howard on their way to St. Elizabeth Parish on Hubbard Street. Standard bearers, each carrying a banner that represented one of the 4 parishes in town, were followed by participants and by the carrying of the Blessed Sacrament. Stasha Slota traveled the route while pushing her granddaughter in a stroller.
It's very important because we need a priest, we need to society be better, and we ourselves want to be better, and when we are Catholic, and we're really hoping for more priests.
Father Gary notes that prayer for vocations is very important.
Without the priest, there's no Eucharist. And so we need to pray for priests, but we also need to pray for women religious too, and religious brothers, that they will be the face of Christ to so many people in the world today.
Following prayers in the church, the procession stepped off again and traveled to Saints Peter and Paul Ukrainian Catholic Church on Newbury Street before concluding at Our Lady of Fatima Parish just down the road.
Finally, longtime Franciscan and St. Stanislaus Basilica rector, Father Michael Zelke, began his new duties this summer as the Minister Provincial of the Midwestern Province of St. Bonaventure, which is headquartered in Chicago, Illinois, but not before his parish community bid him farewell.
Father Michael Zelke served as pastor at St. Stanislaus in Chicopee from 2001 until 2014, and as he celebrated his silver jubilee of ordination, he also bid farewell to his flock.
St. Stanislaus is a very, very unique place. It's really a place that people are excited about living their faith, about giving witness to the Lord. The school, has been faithful all these years, and the faith life here at the Basilica of St. Stanislaus, how they're ready and willing to share that faith and be part of the faith and build up God's kingdom by responding to the working of the Holy Spirit. I don't think it's by chance that I'm celebrating today on the Solemnity of Pentecost. So I've been called to be the Minister Provincial of the Midwestern Province. St. Bonaventure was headquartered in Chicago, Illinois.
Friend and colleague, Brother Michael Duffy, gave a comical yet heartfelt reflection during the homily.
We're going to miss you when you're gone. If he has sung this once, he's sung it 100 times from yesterday, twice, as things played out for today. Once again, he begins to sing, "You're going to miss me when you're gone." How prophetic, how appropriate. We're going to miss the way he walks, we're going to miss the way he talks.
Many family members traveled up to New England for Father Zelke's celebration, including his mom and his sister Maureen.
Michael is the one boy out of 4 girls. Since he was a kid, he was very involved in church, starting as an altar boy, then becoming sacristan, and then, he always managed to gather us, and we all would, in his work, and we'd be cleaning church with him and helping him to decorate and stuff like that.
The Mass had about a dozen concelebrants and nearly 300 worshipers, including city officials, family, classmates, students of St. Stanislaus School, and parishioners. Parish Administrator Father Mieczysław Witt presented Father Zelke with a papal blessing from Pope Francis. A dinner reception followed in the school. In Chicopee, this is Julie Boyer reporting.
And viewers may recall that Father Michael led a Catholic communication pilgrimage to Italy some years ago. We wish him well. And finally, just a reminder that tomorrow, Sunday, August 31st, St. Joseph Parish in Pittsfield will play host to our new Bishop, Mitchell Rosansky's first visit to the Berkshires. Bishop will celebrate the 11:30 Mass, followed by greeting one and all at a casual reception and receiving line following the Mass in the parish center. All are invited and encouraged to come out and meet our new bishop. And remember, you can always stay informed on all the happenings in our diocese by logging on to our news and information website, iobserve.org, where you will find up-to-the-minute and accurate news on the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and beyond. You can also see video reports from Reel to Reel and from the award-winning team at Catholic News Service. That's our news and information website, iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and that's your Reel to Reel News Brief.
I'm Terry Hegarty. It's back to school time. Next week on Reel to Reel, I'll tell you about the start of the school year, and I'll introduce you to the 3 new Catholic school principals.
Well, like it or not, by this week, all students will be back in the classrooms as summer gives way to the new academic year. And for folks at the Newman Center at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, this means things are about to get very busy. From our Reel to Reel archives, we share again Steve Kiltonic's look at this important spiritual home away from home.
I find this as a place of refuge where we can really separate ourselves from all the things that happen in everyday life. And it's really a nice place to come and pray and speak with others that share the same faith.
It's so easy at this big university to feel singled out and that you're by yourself. This Newman community, for me, has been a real big part of my college career.
Everywhere you go, it seems as if people are challenging your faith, challenging your beliefs, and here's where you can come and kind of recharge.
It really is a place that people can come and be themselves and practice their faith and not feel judged or feel like they have to act a certain way to impress other people or to fit in.
The voices just heard are students who talk about their experiences at the Newman Catholic Center. Over the last half-century, thousands of students have walked through the welcoming doors of the Newman Center on the campus of the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. Whether it's to study in the library, enjoy a meal at the cafe, participate in the many recreational activities or social events, or simply to relax and escape from the often chaotic life of a typical college student. Here, one can also live out their faith. Father Gary Daly is the Newman Center's director and chaplain.
This is not just an ordinary building on the campus, at the university, that this is a special place where students can come and feel safe, feel that this can be a home away from home for them because it's comfortable. They can find friends who are thinking the same thing they do and express their faith. And I think that's been a great asset to the students of the university, of feeling that camaraderie around their faith.
The Newman Club, The forerunner of the center was founded in 1929. With no building to meet at, students would gather in classrooms across campus or walk to St. Bridget's for Mass. Then, as now, John Henry Cardinal Newman's motto, "Heart speaks to heart," serves as the inspiration for students. The 60,000 square foot Newman Center is one of the largest Catholic missions on its secular college campus. It was the dream of Father David Power, who felt the need for a facility at UMass where Catholic students and others could go for their spiritual as well as intellectual growth.
It was the vision of both Father Powers and Bishop Weldon in creating this center. And what an amazing vision in a sense, because they purchased this land, which was the outskirts of the university at that time, thinking that at one time in history that this university would expand. And it certainly has.
On a damp September day in 1961, Springfield Bishop Christopher Weldon presided over the groundbreaking ceremonies as he dug the first shovels full of dirt. Over the next 18 months, students watched as ground was cleared, cement poured, and steel girders put in place. On April 1st, 1963, Father Power celebrated the first Mass under the watchful eyes of the chapel's 7 Saints of Learning. And on May 15, 1963, the Newman Center was officially dedicated, with Boston's Richard Cardinal Cushing the presider at the Pontifical Mass. In attendance that memorable spring day was an Irish priest by the name of Father Joseph Quigley. Known by his thick bottle-cap glasses, Father Quigley embodied the spirit of the Newman Center and became a legend on campus.
The Quiggs, as they would refer to him, and many of the priests called him in the diocese affectionately, was a character. And the Newman Center, working at the university, was the perfect place for Father Quigley. He had a wonderful personality. He had a way of expressing himself.
Father Quigley was intimately involved with the Newman Center for nearly 40 years as its director and campus minister. The Ware High School and Fordham University graduate and veteran of World War II had a gift for storytelling.
Oh, he annoyed me. He would make these, old jokes, and he was always like, the Irish are better than the Polish and all. And people would laugh, and I think, why is he doing that? And because he was doing it. It was the way he was.
Father Quigley became known for his spiritual and humorous three-point sermons, the best of which he recorded on a CD. Students can still recite Quigley's phrases like, "Don't do a half-baked job," "Don't creep and crawl," or "Ask God to give you a hand." He offered this advice before finals.
First, find your book. Second, find out the professor's name. That's at least worth 10 points. Get a decent night's rest, at least 6 hours. Do what you can reasonably and leave the rest to God.
That phrase became Father Quigley's signature statement and would follow him throughout his Newman years. It has a prominent place in the Quigley Room, along with other memorabilia.
Father Joe Quigley would talk about himself as an underdog, cockeyed Quigley, or he'd talk in the challenges of being a corporal, and he'd bring in these stories, and it was his way of saying, look what God did with me. That can happen with you. And he really believed it.
Father Quigley passed away in 2005 in the 50th year of his priesthood. One of UMass's most respected and successful alumni, who has become synonymous with the Newman Center over the years, is George Trigger Burke. For 4 years, Burke was a standout guard on the UMass basketball team. In 1956, he was the first player ever to lead UMass in both scoring and assists during the same season.
To have his shirt retired along with Dr. J's, the same number, as a matter of fact, hanging in the Mullen Center, just indicates what a great athlete he was, number one, but also the dedication he has to the university.
While athletics gave Burke instant recognition, it was his faith, passed on by his mother, which gave him his true inner spirit.
She just was a wonderful woman, but she gave me the greatest gift I've ever received in my life, and that was my Catholic faith, which I have to this day. I believe very deeply in the church.
After his playing days at UMass and one pro season with the Boston Celtics, Trigger Burke went on to a successful law career as the mayor of Quincy and district attorney of Norfolk County. Burke's office in Quincy is filled with memorabilia from his athletic and legal career. Despite his success, Trigger Burke never forgot his alma mater. He received the Newman Medal in 2005. Burke also founded the UMass Athletic Hall of Fame, which is named in his honor.
He's been a very significant person for us. We have the Burke Lounge as a result of that, and a stained glass window in the chapel dedicated to him, and he's very proud of being part of the Newman Center.
The Newman Center also serves UMass staff and members of the community. It provides outreach for the 27,000 students who attend the university and is open to those of all religions. Students can join the Newman Student Association, which plans social, liturgical, and spiritual needs of students, or become a peer minister and help students in their own faith development. At a faith-sharing session held in the Trigger Burke Room, students talk about many issues, including their own personal struggles and academic pressures, as well as their faith.
Every time I've come here, I've seen somebody praying, and there is a beautiful presence of God when I walk there that had made the presence of Jesus in the Eucharist very real to me.
Patrick has been coming to Newman since his freshman year.
It's so easy at this big university to feel singled out and that you're by yourself. But this Newman community for me has been a real big part of my college career. It's a way to meet people who have that common ground, and sometimes that's not the easiest thing.
Peter has also belonged to Newman since his freshman year.
I find this as a place of refuge where we can, really separate ourselves from all the things that happen in everyday life. And it's really a nice place to come and pray and speak with others that share the same faith.
Michelle says her role at Newman has evolved from a Newman student associate to peer minister, and now as an evangelizer showing other students what Newman has to offer.
It's a place where you can come and exercise exactly 100% of who you are. And that's what brought me here and what I think the Newman Center really offers here at UMass that you can't find anywhere else on campus.
Father Daly would like to continue and expand the programs to ensure that the Newman Center is true to its mission and original ideas as a place of worship, education, community, and action.
I'm glad the Newman Center has been for you, seniors, a place, a refuge, a home away from home. I just hope that you'll always remember us and that you'll come back and visit us. And when you make it big, you'll share your resources with us so that we can do the things we need to do here for future generations of students.
As the Newman Catholic Center celebrates its half-century of existence, it is hoped and prayed that it will always be that welcoming place for UMass students for the next 50 years and beyond. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
And we wish students everywhere a very successful new academic year. And the Newman folks will be setting up an information tent at some of the UMass football games which are being played on campus this fall. For this week, that's Real to Real. Remember the presentation of the relics of St. Anthony next Saturday, September 6th, ending on September 14th. There are many different events and liturgies taking place, too numerous to mention here, but you can get all of that information on the St. Anthony phone line number 413-452-0577. That's 413-452-0577. There you can get a complete schedule and other important information, including the September 8th Mass being celebrated by our own Bishop Brzezinski. That's 413-452-0577. And also, the complete information is on iobserve.org. And I'll be back next week with another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Until then, enjoy your week.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.